Former US President Donald Trump may have failed to win a second straight term in power, but he is not letting the Biden administration off the hook either. Trump is leading a strong opposition against the Biden administration and stepping up the heat on the current US president. In fact, he is giving the ruling Democratic Party a dose of its own medicine. The Trump-led opposition is playing Democrats' tactics on the Democrats themselves. A coalition of 6 red states led by West Virginia has sent a letter to the Biden administration. It warns the US president against overstepping authority and stated that they were willing to sue Biden if he does anything that goes against individual rights, federal law, or the Constitution. This is in the backdrop of a slew of executive orders that Biden has been putting out. By the Republicans, this is simply a tit-for-tat gesture, as blue states had also filed a plethora of lawsuits against the Trump administration over the past 4 years. The letter read, "The president cannot cut constitutional corners or shirk statutory strictures without inevitably doing more harm to our country than good." It added, "By this letter, we respectfully urge you, when pursuing your policy priorities, to honor the core constitutional tenets which should be appreciated and respected by every person entrusted with the honor and burdens of the presidency." The red states are firing some strong warning shots against the Biden administration. The letter sent by the 6 Republican-ruled states also said, "We stand ready to meet with your administration to discuss more on how the issues below affect our states. Litigation is never a first option, and we would like to help your team in its important job on behalf of all Americans, consistent with the constitutional and the rule of law." Finally, the letter concluded, "Yet if you sign unconstitutional laws passed by Congress, it will be our responsibility and duty to challenge those laws at court." Biden administration would understand the strong intent behind the letter, given that Biden's nominee for Health and Human Services Secretary Xavier Becerra has himself filed more than 100 lawsuits against the Trump administration in the capacity of California Attorney General. So the Biden administration might have to get ready to be flooded with a plethora of lawsuits, and ironically, the Republican states are learning this from the Democrats themselves. And this is not the first time that the Republicans or their supporters are learning something from the Democrats. Republican supporters and the Trump supporters in particular understand how the Democrats had tried to delegitimize Trump from the word go. When Trump came to power in 2016, Democrats started alleging that Republicans had stolen the elections. Last year, Democrats justified rioting, arson, and vandalism in the garb of Black Lives Matter protests only in order to topple the Trump administration. In fact, the far-left Democrats in a way contributed to the Capitol siege by Trump supporters. Trump's fan base is actually the silent majority and doesn't usually express itself. But during the Capitol Hill fiasco, Trump supporters actually took a leaf out of the Democrats' book. As such, a Trump-led opposition is doing to Biden what Democrats had done to Trump for 4 long years. The Republicans are now rallying behind Trump, and it seems that the internal rift within the GOP following the Capitol siege has now died down. After reports of Trump's plans to launch a new outfit called the Patriot Party, it seems that the Republicans have realized the need to rally behind the popular leader and to prevent him from breaking ranks with the Republicans. Republican senators are even pushing back against the Democrats' bid to get Trump impeached. In fact, the GOP is already putting efforts to impeach Joe Biden himself. So, the Trump-led opposition is now united and set to give a tough time to Joe Biden.